welcome back to another TS Tera Plays Tera video. Today's video we are going to go over Menma's The Dream 2.3.2 patch notes. So, to start off, Menma's has officially released their own skill prediction. Now, I do want to, before we fully get into what this means, for anyone that has questions, this is not mandatory to use. I don't know if you're in the Discord. At this time, I will say please join the Discord. The link will be down below, and that will be the Menma's Discord. If you have any questions, like myself, I usually ask there. There are amazing people always there to help, and with my question, Hale was kind enough to reach out to me and let me know the answer with this, and that is that this skill prediction as of right now is not mandatory. You can use whatever skill prediction you want. Do understand, Menma's does have the right in the future to change that. Now, with that said, I would say definitely check out this skill prediction, as that Menma's is going to constantly update it. They're going to talk to the community and figure out what they think is worth and not worth changing and adding to this mod. So, within that, I will say if you do enjoy other skill predictions, you do not have to swap now, but in the future you may have to swap, or maybe you should just consider checking it out because they are constantly going to update it, make changes to it, and make the game as best as they can with now having their own skill prediction. So I know I haven't checked it out yet myself, but I do have plans to give it a try. Within that, you can take a second to pause the video if you want to read any of the fixed issues and features that they've already done. And like I said, they are looking to actually go and make those changes themselves by listening to the community's response. If they feel, oh, maybe we should change this about this class, they will listen and they will consider stuff. Does not mean they'll take all of the advice, does not mean they will make all the changes, but it is another addition to Menma's that I'm super excited to see them taking on. So within that, let's get into the actual patch notes of what's going on with the game itself besides the new mod. And that is, there is a small change in some PvE gear. They corrected an issue where the Frozen Agaya rings and the Scorching Agaya necklace had 10 less magical or physical implication as intended. There are some PvE dungeon changes. The following dungeons have had their defense and HP tweaked, including shields where applicable. That is Channelworks, Dreadspire, Killian's Dreadnought, Nizzle's Gorge, Lilith's Keep, Ruinous Manor, and AA, Timescape, Refuge Hard, Velic's Hold Hard, Velic Sanctuary Hard, Lumica's Dream Normal and Hard Mode, Brow Lost Souls Normal and Hard Mode, Darkreach Citadel Normal and Hard Mode, along with Shadow Sanctuary Normal and Hard Mode. Additionally, Channelworks and Nizzle's Gorge will have an increased drop rate of Relics and Halidome tokens. Killian's Dreadnought and Lilith's Keep have a greatly increased the drop rate of also Relics and Halidome tokens. Dreadspire, all the bosses can no longer resist abnormalities applied to them. As for Frozen Bahar Sanctum, they increased Phase 2 HP by 5.4%. Only Mystics and Priests can hit the Bahar skeletons now. They've removed split damage from players' skills while in the instance. Warrior's Battlecry skill will now reliably stun Bahar. I know I had this issue on console where occasionally the shout was meant to stun Bahar and a skeleton ate it instead. That has now been resolved. It will always go to stunning Bahar. And they've done various attacks that previously turned Bahar will now guarantee tanks deal damage from the front and DPS and healers deal damage from the back during the duration that Bahar is turned. Biggest one I can say for that is whenever Bahar says feel the wrath, he does a weird spin with the volcano. That where you now hit front and back is being resolved, which is a really cool thing that they actually looked into that. For Grotto of Lost Souls Hard, all bosses can no longer resist the abnormalities applied to them. For Nightmare Kylos, they've reduced his HP by 5%. They increased the fight timer from 8 to 10 minutes. And for the Exploding Orbs HP, they've reduced them from 150 million down to 125 million. For Killing Grounds, the message informing the players of Gardon's Rage mechanic only occurs at the start of the fight. For Crimson Killing Grounds, they've increased Nightmare Gardon's HP by 9.5%, and the same message from before has, been done as well. For Lumica's Dream, they've increased the amount of Lumica Wings fragment drop from 5 to 10. For Velic Sanctuary Revived Decurion, they've reduced his HP by 20%, and they reduced the damage dealt from the cage attack from 80% HP down to 40% HP. For the event Snowbound Sabotage, this event has ended, and the Wintera Snowfield has been closed. They want to thank you all for participating. If you still have leftover tokens, be sure to use them in Baldera or the Velica Outskirts Hall for the exclusive rewards before those NPCs are taken away. Alright, next we're going to get into some class changes. So for Archer, they've increased your overall damage by 1.5% in PvE. For PvP Champion Skyring, they've reverted a previous change which reduced overall damage by 10%. For Feign and Death PvP, the Glorious Enhancement reduced the duration of invincibility frames provided by 1.5 seconds. For Incinerator Arrow in PvP, they fixed an issue which caused players to not get knocked down occasionally from the skill. For Rain of Arrows, they increased the skill tick rate, reducing the length of Rain of Arrows from 3.5 seconds down to 2 seconds. For Thunderbolt in PvP Champion Skyring, no longer splits damage between targets. For Windsong PvP Champion Skyring, they've reduced the damage during the effect by 10%, and for PvP Champion Skyring Gust Advancement, they've removed the debuff which increased damage taken by 10%. For Brawler, for PvE only, they've reduced your overall damage by 1.8% when affected by Growing Fury's irregular advancement. For Zerks in PvE, they've reduced your overall damage by 3.2%. For Bloodlust PvP Champion Skyring, your Charisma Advancement has removed the debuff which increased damage taken by 10%. And for Sweeping Strike, your Glyph of Persistence has added a 4-second cooldown between activations. Lancer, your Backstep. The Reload Enhancement, they've corrected an issue which the tooltip anomalously meddling a reset chance rather than reducing the resolve cost of the skill. For Plague of Protection, they fixed an issue which caused the skill to absorb approximately 16% more damage than intended. The damage reduction effect now only applies to the caster, and it doesn't apply raid-wide. For Mystic's Mass Teleport, they've added a new 0-point cost glyph which removes the party teleportation effect while active. For Thrall of Life PvP Champion Skyring, Glyph of Persistence no longer functions. For Thrall of Protection PvP Champion Skyring, no longer spawns the Thrall when casted. For Vow of Rebirth, they fixed an issue which allowed players to apply Vow of Rebirth to an entire party when it was paired with the Bomb of Cooling in certain situations. So there is no more casting Vow on your team, popping a cooldown bomb, and giving everyone on your team Vow. You must select 2 people if you have it glyphed and set up to get Vow instead of being able to just constantly give it to everyone. For Ninjas PvE, they increased your overall damage by 2%. For Attenuate, they fixed an issue which caused the skill to enter cooldown without providing the effect if interrupted at a specific moment. Smoke Bomb, they fixed an issue which provided the invincibility effect even while outside of the skill's area of effect. The Apex Glyph of Power has received various changes, those being they've reduced the skill cost points from 5 to 3. The skill damage increase now applies only against monsters, now provides invincibility frames, and they've changed the skill sound when casting compared to the normal Smoke Bomb. For Priest, Energy Stars, and PvP Champion Skyring, Curse enhancement no longer functions. Guardian Sanctuary in PvE enabled the skill during Edict of Judgment. Holy Burst, they fixed an issue which caused the skill to enter cooldown without providing the effect if interrupted at a specific moment. For Plague of Exhaustion in PvP, they reduced the projectile speed by 20%. For Reapers, the PvE reduced overall damage by 1.5%. Shadow Reaping, PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the damage during the effect by 10%. For Champion Skyring again, Snare Advancement no longer functions. Next we have Slayers. PvE, they reduced your overall damage by 2.6%. For Overpower, the skill's effect has gotten a complete rework. Every third cast of Heart Thrust deals 100% more damage. Every third cast of Punishing Blows deals 15% more skill damage. And every third cast of Whirlwind deals 33% more damage. You must hit the target for the cast count. Each skill casts are tracked individually, meaning a third successful hit will get increased regardless of skill order. Meaning, basically, if you go Heart Thrust into Punishing Blows into Whirlwind, do that 3 times, on the 3rd time each of them will have their increased damage. If you do not hit a target within 30 seconds, the counter resets for that skill. So in other words, let's say you hit Heart Thrust, you hit Punishing Blows, you hit Whirlwind, and then you don't come back to Whirlwind after 30 seconds, then Whirlwind is not going to get that 3rd cast unless you fix it. Or fix it by using it more within that timer. So, for Sorks, PvE, they've increased your overall damage by 1%. For Warpbearer, they fixed an issue which caused the skill to enter cooldown without providing the effect if interrupted at a specific moment. For Valkyrie, Dark Herald, PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the range of the pull effect while under the effects of Ragnarok from 20 meters down to 15 meters. And for Rune Burst, PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the damage by 10%. For Warrior, in PvE, they've increased their overall damage by 1.5%. For PvE, they reduced their overall damage by 6.5% while in defense stance. Due to a formula of 1.5% buff, effectively is a 5% reduction of overall damage while in D stance, and they're just trying to make sure that Warrior DPS is getting a buff while war tanks are not overseeing the other tanks. While inside of a dungeon instance and while the boss is not active, warriors now have a 100% chance of activating Swiss Evasive Roll. So instead of before the fight sitting there and spamming Evasive Roll, if the boss is not active, you can click it once and you are good to go. That's actually a really nice change that I am super excited about. For Backstab in PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the edge generation from 1 to 0. While the glyph is active, the skill will generate 1 edge instead of 2. For Blade Draw, PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the edge generation while under the effect of Deadly Gamble from 2 to 1. Meaning if you have the glyph, it will generate 2 edge instead of 4. Rain of Blows, PvP Champion Skyring, they reduced the edge generation while under the effect of Deadly Gamble to be the same. Instead of 4, it is 2. So basically, your biggest edge skills, Backstab is like crazy edge generation, but still, yeah, in PvP, Backstab I'm sure is much more used than what I would. I just don't PvP very much, but for the most part, your most edge generating skills, Blade Draw and Rain of Blows, while in DG, have been cut in half. Next, we have some overall general content. For achievements, they fixed an issue where the Prophets of Doom achievement gave 40 achievement points instead of the intended 30. They've updated the amount of possible achievement points, and they have adjusted the amount achievement points completed require for the Laurels. Bronze 20% is down to 13%. Champion was 90 and has been boosted to 95%. Silver, Gold, and Diamond remain the same. For the Auron's Legacy Reputation Vendor, they've added the Thunder Dragon Skull, Lacan Skull, and the Lumica Horns Fragment for Trusted Reputation rank and higher. For the lower reputation ranks, they require for Revered to Trusted to purchase the Arctivian Spear, Darkon's Wings, and Lockon's Heart. For Hydrina, they've added both a banker and a broker to the area, and for the training ground, they changed the spawn location of the healer crystal to be closer to the training ground simulacrum. They've added a debuff to the simulacrum displaying when the next burn will occur. They've added a brawler, lancer, and warrior stones. Upon destroying the stones, the buffs from the corresponding tanks will apply. Lancer gives you a rush. Brawler will apply Haymaker Resonance permanently and Furious Blows to the player, internal wounds to the simulacrum. Warrior Stone will apply one with the sword to the player and the armor breaker to the simulacrum. Destroying another stone, just like the Mystic and Priest, will remove the previous tank buff. Next we have some just PvP rally changes and overall miscellaneous and bug fixes. So, for the rally changes, Tuesday, the Enraged Tandabus, they removed the Leash attack, and they removed the Primal Fear effect with reduced affected players' endurance. For miscellaneous, they've adjusted the tooltip for various PvE materials to list Grotto Losso's Hard as a source. They've adjusted tooltips of various skills to reflect changes made to them over time. For overall bug fix, they fixed an issue which caused a Fox Ellen's tail to switch to an incorrect LOD. They fixed ringing issues with Ellen's winter jacket. They fixed the winter jacket missing sound, and they fixed the kimono model issue. So that is all of the changes on Menma's The Dream 2.3.2 patch notes, and that is going to be it for this video. If you've enjoyed, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more Tera content, or maybe you just want to check out the new gaming content that will be coming out soon, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel. I want to thank everyone so much for again having this channel hit 500 subscribers. I am super happy for that, and I can't wait to keep growing and seeing what else we come out with. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day and or night, depending where you are when you are watching this video, and I hope to see you in Aboria, gamers.